What if I told you that the single biggest mistake most first-time real estate investors make has nothing to do with the market, the neighborhood, or even the deal itself? It has everything to do with what they believe going in, and nobody, not the guru, not the YouTube channel, not even your well-meaning uncle, bothered to correct them. Here's the thing nobody puts in the highlight reel. That first property will humble you in ways that feel almost personal, like the building itself has a vendetta. We're talking about the investor who bought a turnkey duplex in 2022, celebrated on Instagram, and then watched $40,000 in surprise repairs quietly erase 2 years of cash flow before the first tenant even renewed. The catalyst for most of these disasters is something embarrassingly simple. People confuse a good deal on paper with a good deal in reality. The spreadsheet doesn't include the 3 a.m. phone call about a burst pipe, the contractor who ghosts you after the deposit, or the vacancy that stretches from 2 weeks into 4 months. Let's talk about the math everyone gets wrong, because this is where optimism turns into a stress disorder. You see a property listed at a 6% cap rate, you feel smart, you close, and then you discover that the previous owner was managing it themselves, hadn't raised rents in 6 years, and deferred basically every maintenance item since the Obama administration. There's this beautiful delusional phase every new investor goes through where they look at gross rent and think that's income. Net operating income, debt service, capital expenditures, vacancy reserves, property management fees, strip all that out, and suddenly your cash flowing property is breaking even on a good month and losing money on a bad one. The psychological shift that happens after that first year is something behavioral economists would find fascinating. You entered the deal like a golden retriever chasing a frisbee, full sprint, pure joy, no concept of consequences, and now you're reading lease clauses at midnight with the energy of someone defusing a bomb. History actually backs up this emotional arc, and that's oddly comforting if you zoom out. Real estate investing has gone through cycles of irrational exuberance, followed by hard reckonings in the 1980s savings and loan crisis, the 2008 collapse, and the post-pandemic rate shock. And in every single cycle, the investors who survived were the ones who sized their risk conservatively and kept cash reserves. Here's the misconception that does the most damage. People think real estate is passive income. Passive income is a dividend check. Real estate is a part-time job that occasionally pretends to be passive while secretly scheduling emergencies around your vacation. The other myth is that appreciation will save a bad deal. And look, sometimes it does. But building a strategy around appreciation is essentially betting that someone will pay you more in the future to solve the problem you're refusing to solve today. It works until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, the leverage you use to make the bet amplifies the loss in a way that feels cosmically unfair. So what actually works? The investors who build real, durable portfolios are almost aggressively boring. They buy below replacement cost. They keep vacancy and CapEx reserves equal to roughly 10 to 15% of gross rents each. And they treat every deal like it might have to survive a 2-year vacancy before it pencils out. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it is, almost without exception, the actual answer. There's a practical lesson in position sizing here that most people only learn the hard way. Your first property should not be your retirement plan, your identity, or your entire net worth. Think of it as tuition you are paying to learn the real curriculum, which is operational, relational, and psychological, not financial. And here's the irony that nobody frames correctly. The market doesn't care how much conviction you have. The roof doesn't care how many hours you spent on due diligence. It will fail on its own schedule, at its own price, with its own complete indifference to your feelings. Communities of experienced investors will tell you the same thing in 100 different ways. The deal you don't do because the numbers are thin is often better than the deal you force because you're afraid of missing out. Patience isn't weakness in this game. It is arguably the entire competitive advantage available to the small individual investor operating without institutional pressure. What we should all probably admit is that the first property teaches you more than any book, course, or podcast, but only if you survive it financially intact enough to apply the lesson. Size it so that a worst-case scenario is a painful tuition bill, not a life-altering financial event. Philosophically, the investors who compound wealth over decades aren't the ones who found the best deals. They're the ones who stayed in the game long enough for mediocre deals to become great ones through rent growth, debt paydown, and time. Consistency and staying power beat brilliance almost every single time. So if you're standing at the edge of that first purchase, nervous, excited, second-guessing yourself good, that's the right energy. Just don't let it rush you into something undersized on reserves or oversized on leverage. The goal isn't to win the first deal. The goal is to still be investing on deal number 10. And if it all goes sideways on deal 1, welcome to the club, seriously. Some of the most sophisticated investors alive today have a horror story from their first property that they now tell at dinner parties with something between pride and post-traumatic amusement. The lesson isn't that real estate is bad. The lesson is that real estate rewards preparation, process, and the humility to keep learning. Whether you're ready to take that first step or just trying to figure out where to start, we can help you get into real estate investing, connect you with trusted home contractors, or point you toward the right lenders. Check out our links in the description below.